Practice. We all practice things, whether it's to perfect a craft, get better at something, or just to study. We all practice things before in our life. Some people love to practice, other people not so much. However, on October 10th, 2018, practice will become a media circus with details that sound like something straight out of a movie. Details that will make people laugh, be concerned, and even question if this is even all real. And this story about Jimmy Butler in one crazy practice is very fitting. It's very fitting that it sounds like something straight out of a movie. Because in many ways, Jimmy Butler's life story is a movie. A movie that's written by a great writer. A movie written by a good director. And a movie that could win an Oscar. His story is remarkable. I've seen many great stories, but none like Jimmy Butler's. And many of you already know it. To say his time before the NBA was rough is somewhat of an understatement in a way. A lot of people know the story. Kicked out of the house at 13, lived on the streets, was homeless before a family took him in. Wasn't even heavily recruited, had to take a JUCO route. Last pick in the first round of the 2011 NBA draft. That in of itself sounds like a great story. But you know what? He wanted more. He didn't stop at just being a first round pick, because that would be an accomplishment just to make it to the NBA. He wanted to exceed and excel in the NBA, becoming a multi-time All-Star and one of the best players at his position. And every obstacle put in his way, he jumped over. Now, it's time to meet the rest of the cast that is important to the story. Starting with Andrew Wiggins. Many people know my opinions and my thoughts on one Andrew Wiggins, but let's talk about it for those who don't know. Wiggins was the son of a former NBA player, Mitchell Wiggins. Now, Wiggins is from Canada, obviously, and he would move to the States and would become the number one player in the country, drawing comparisons to guys like LeBron, Tracy McGrady, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, just to name a few, Kevin Durant even. He would attend Kansas, would play well, go first overall in the draft until 2014, and, first 3 years showed a lot of improvement. 17 points to 21 points, 21 points to 24 points in his first 3 years, and those are the 3 years before the plot of this really starts to pick up. Now, the other name I want to talk about is Karl Anthony Towns, another first overall pick, but unlike Andrew Wiggins, Karl Anthony Towns was viewed as a good prospect, but not a generational prospect until really he got to college. Because in college he showed signs of what the mold for a big man should be in the modern NBA, and in his first 3 years in the league, he averaged 18, then 25, and then he meets Jimmy Butler. I'm stopping at the point of when they meet Jimmy Butler because that's when both of Wiggins and Towns' stats went down. Wiggins went from a 24-point per game scorer to an 18-point per game scorer. Towns went from a 25-point per game scorer to a 21-point per game scorer. This is all expected. This is all supposed to happen. When three good players play together, people take risks and their stats go down a little bit. That's what happens when three good players play together. It happened to the Boston Celtics, it happened to the Miami Heat, and it happened in this situation. In fact, when Butler was traded to Minnesota for Zach LaVine and Lauri Markkanen and Chris Dunn, the team had playoff aspirations, and they reached those playoff aspirations. In fact, they won 47 games. Now, when you think about it, they probably could have won more games if Butler didn't get injured, toward the end of the season. And maybe they ended up being a 3rd seed. But they ended up being the 8th seed and losing in the first round to the Houston Rockets and MVP James Harden. Nothing to be ashamed about. They'll be back next year. They'll be good next year. Then, drama picked up. Jimmy Butler would become disgruntled with the Minnesota Timberwolves. He was not happy per se with the lack of improvement or enthusiasm from Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins. It led to one of the most insane moments in NBA history. October 10th, 2018, at 3:03 p.m., Adrian Wojnarowski, or Woj, tweeted out this. All-Star Jimmy Butler participated in Minnesota's practice, a session that included him verbally challenging teammates, coaches, and front office, league sources told ESPN. Butler was vociferous and emotional at times, targeting Thibodeau, Layden, Towns, and Wiggins. Story soon on ESPN. Adrian Wojnarowski at 4:50 p.m. on October 10th. A lot of Minnesota players left Timberwolves practice today energized by Butler's performance, memorized with him taking end-of-the-bunch players and running the table on the regular, sources say. At the end, he marched out like if he dropped a mic. Butler delivered a tour de force. Now, this is a tweet earlier from Keith Smith. I spoke with Wolves staffers who said today's practice, it was bad. Guys come in angry, having bad days all the time. This was as bad as I've ever seen a practice in my years in the NBA. And my final one, which is also earlier, at one point in the scrimmage, and this is my favorite part, sources said, Butler turned to GM Scott Lane and screamed, "You need me. You can't win without me." Butler left teammates and coaches largely speechless. He dominated the gym in every way. Jimmy's back. Yeah, Jimmy wouldn't be staying, but Jimmy was back because he would be traded to from Minnesota to the Philadelphia 76ers. This is insane. This is something out of a movie. This is the random killing spree that the character goes on. I can't name specifics, but I probably put a picture up already of an example of that. We all knew Jimmy was a fiery guy. We all knew that Jimmy was a competitive player, someone who honestly had nothing growing up, someone who didn't take anything for granted, someone who took advantage of his situation and didn't let anything stop him. And he was going to put up with watching talented players like Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins do what they did, not care as much, and less than great was unacceptable for Jimmy Butler. So that's why this happened. But what happened is still crazy. Because what happened was that we saw someone go crazy. Took a bunch of third stringers and beat the starters. And the events and the details blew up NBA Twitter. That's the best way I can put it. The events blew up NBA Twitter. Yep, that's what happened. Jimmy Butler is who he is. Minnesota is where they are. But, while I don't think that was the best thing to do, I don't think it was the right thing for Jimmy Butler to do. I will say this. The last time the Minnesota Timberwolves were successful was when they had Jimmy Butler. So clearly he had a positive impact on that team. That's all I'm going to say about that. So where are these players now? Well, that's not for me to tell you. That's for me to put some corny reality TV show music over and have you find out via text. But that's all I had to say. That's all I had to say about today and October 10th of 2018. And one of the craziest moments in recent history. With that being said, if you liked the video, please feel free to like and subscribe. I make videos like this. I make videos reacting to things. I make videos about rants, all sorts of things. But it's all basketball related or sports related. Subscribe if you're new. If you already subscribed, like the video. Dislike it if you didn't like it. I don't really care. But thank you for supporting. This is a lot of fun. This was a lot of fun for me. And, you know, I have a bunch of other things, Twitter, Instagram, and the link below if you want to follow those. But yeah, have a nice day.
Whatever happened to predictability? The milkman, the paperboy, evening TV. You miss your old familiar friends, but waiting just around the bend. Everywhere you look, there's a heart, a hand to hold on to. Everywhere you look, there's a lust of somebody who needs you. When you're lost out there and you're all alone, life is waiting to carry you home. Everywhere you look, everywhere you look.